All right, so today we're learning section 3.1, mean, median, mode, and range. We're on page 101 in your textbooks. Okay, so you need to know the definition of each one of these terms. Okay? The mean is the average of the numbers in a data set. The median is the middle number when the numbers are ordered lowest to greatest. Mode is the number that appears the most in a data set. And the range is the difference between the highest and the lowest number. Okay, so in example 1, we're finding the mean. Go ahead and get out your calculators. You are allowed to use your calculators. All right, and I want you to add up. Listen, for the mean, there are 2 steps. The first step is to add all of the numbers in the data set. All right, so go ahead and do that in your calculators. All right, so Zach, what is it?
104.
Very good. So 104, you're going to write your total. And then you divide that total by the number of numbers. So how many numbers do I have in this data set? How many numbers do I have, Elena? 9. Very good. So 104 divided by 9. And I want to see this work. Anytime you're finding the mean on your homework, quiz, or test, I want to see what you divided by. 104 divided by 9 is 11 and 5/10 repeating. Okay, 11 and 5/10 repeating. And that's how you find the mean. Now in example 2, I'm going to find all of my averages. Okay, well, it's the same data set, so I know that my mean was what? What was my mean? 11 and 5/10 repeating. Okay, so that's my mean. Now my median, am I just going to count right now and figure out what my middle number is? Is that how I figure out the median? What do I need to do first before I can tell my median? I need to put the numbers in order, least to greatest. So I've got 4, 4, 8, 11, 12, 12, 15, 16, and 22. Now I've put them in order least to greatest, and now I can start eliminating from the outside in to figure out what my middle number is. So I cross out my 4 and 22, 4 and 16, 8 and 15, 11 and 12, and what's my middle number? 12, so that's my median. All right, now my mode is the number that occurs the most. A number has to occur more than once in order for it to be considered as the mode. Do you see any number that occurs more than once, Kayla? 12, and what's my other number? 4. So since they both occur twice, it's a tie for the mode, and they're both the mode. Okay? Now, if 12 had occurred 3 times and 4 only 2 times, then 12 would have been the mode exclusively. Does that make sense? But if they both occur twice, they're both the mode. All right, now the range, I want to see some work here. What is the biggest number in this data set? 22. And what's the smallest number?
4.
So you subtract them, and your range is 18. I want to see your work there. I want to see what you're subtracting. All right, and that's how you find all 4 averages. Mean, median, mode, and range. Okay, I want you to do your turn now. Numbers 1 and 2, it is on the screen. I believe it's 3.1, page 102, page 102 in your books. You're finding all 4 of your averages, mean, median, mode, and range for those 2 sets of numbers. All right, so on number 1, the mean, for the mean, what was your total? What was your total, guys? 108, very good. And what did you divide by? 9. And what was your mean? 12. Okay, everybody show what you divided by? All right, what about your median? What was your middle number? 13. 13, yeah, it's okay. And what about your mode? 13. And what about your range? 13. Because did you show 19 minus 6 is 13? I want you to show what you're subtracting by. All right, so make sure you show that. All right, number 2, what's going to be your total when you add them all together? It was 285 divided by?
No, 8.
Divided by 8. It was 285, right? Okay. Which equals what? 35 and 625 thousandths. All right, very good. What about the median? Okay, I ended up with what 2 numbers in the middle? 20 and 23. So when I add 20 plus 23 together, what do I get? 43. So 43 is my median? No, I have to divide by 2 to get 21 and 5/10, and that is my median. Okay? Any questions about how I got to my median? So anytime there's 2 numbers in the middle, I add them together and divide by 2 to find my true median. All right? Now what about my mode? What's my mode? It's nothing because there's no number that occurs more than once. And then my range, what's my biggest number?
79.
What's my smallest number?
10.
So what's my range?
69.
Perfect. All right, so those are the 4 averages that we've learned today, okay? Now you're going to have a couple questions on your homework tonight that ask you, what is the best average? What is the best average that represents the data? So I look at the data as a whole, and I want to ask myself, okay, which one of these averages best represents the data that's being shown? So what I want to do is I want you to start by just finding the mean, median, mode, and range of the set of numbers, and then we'll talk about which one of them is the best representation of the data. Okay, what's the total when you add them up for the mean? 99, and then divide by 9, and you get 11. All right, what about your median? 8. What about your mode? 1. And what about your range? 44. So now let's look at the numbers as a whole, okay? Do you think that 1 is a good representation of the numbers in that data set? No, because, okay, there's only 2 1s, and then all the other numbers are way higher, right? Okay, so that one's not it. What about 44? That's kind of the same problem, right? There's only 1 number that's up in that range. The rest of them are way lower. So 44 is definitely not the best representation. Okay, and now we just have the mean and the median. And I would say probably 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, the best representation is going to be either the mean or the median. Now, the mean oftentimes is not going to be it. And it's because, or the best representation, because of what we call outliers, okay? Now, outliers are numbers that are much, much higher or much, much lower than the cluster of the data. So do you agree that 45, we've got, what? We've got 1, 8, 12, 10, 45, like that's way higher than the rest of the numbers, right? So that's why we call it an outlier, because most of my numbers are right around 10, right? And then I've got 45 way up there, and it's pulling my average to be a little bit higher than the rest of the numbers, or what it should be, okay? So the mean is often affected by what we call outliers, which is why it's not the best representation. The median, 8. How many numbers are 8 or less in the data set? Count them. How many numbers? We've got 1, 8, 1, 7, and 6. I have 5 numbers. So how many numbers are higher? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's right in the middle, right? So it's the best measure or the best representation of the numbers. I would say probably most of the time the median is going to be the best representation. So although I don't want you to guess ever, if you had to guess, median would be the best guess because most of the time it's the best one. It's not affected by outliers, right? I've got 8 in the middle. It doesn't matter that 45 is way up here on the end, does it? It's not affected by it. It's the number in the middle. But the mean is affected by outliers. All right, so numbers 19 and 21 tonight, they're going to ask you which one is the best representation, and you have to answer it. In this example, it's going to be the median. Okay, and if you understand that, that's everything you need to know for 3.1.